Welcome to the Money to Meaning podcast, where we explore ways to bridge the gap between money and our heart's desires. I'm your hostess, Amy Adler. Today's guest, I'm really excited about and is going to probably shock you. Her name is Nicole Parish, and she's a psychic medium. Nicole and I met because we were both participants in a really small group of entrepreneurs that met pretty regularly over about a 6-month period. And the group was called a cosmic mastermind for entrepreneurs who were spiritual. And Nicole has been an incredible source of light and support through a huge part of my own spiritual growth journey, which has been very directly tied to my divorce financial consulting business and this personal finance training business that's coming out of the divorce work. Some of the things that you've shared with me, Nicole, in private sessions and in group readings have really stuck with me and have truly helped me find a light in some really dark times. And I know my audience is going to be confused about why I'm bringing a psychic medium onto the podcast. And I'm really excited to explore that with you today, Nicole. You are the perfect person for this. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so delighted that we met in that cosmic mastermind. And there's so many groups like that, but not with a cosmic feel, whatever that means to each individual person. So many groups where you want to create goals, or you already have your goals and you have your accountability buddies and you're moving forward and you have this group to support you. We had that. We also very much had this, wait, how is this meaningful to us? How are we going to live our lives out in the world to be of service to the world, or whatever it was? And so we met that way. And thank you for your sweet words.
I especially loved that group because it gave me personally a space to be weird, for lack of better words. You know, like I have been in this finance space in a very professional capacity for my entire career. And I've been a very straight, evidence-based kind of personality my whole life. And so to have this, for lack of better phrases, woo-woo side of me that's been growing and really burning and looking for a way out to be able to communicate that out into the world, it has felt really challenging for me to get to a place where I can feel open to communicate about that effectively without people thinking I need to be hospitalized. And so I really appreciated you and all of the other members of the group because I had this space to be able to talk through all these things and not be crazy. So it was amazing. And I think a lot more of these groups are starting to pop up. So I think it's actually really amazing. We started to do that maybe among the first groups, but I'm loving seeing that more networking opportunities are arising in different areas around the world that specifically geared towards people who are spiritual or who have even spiritual businesses.
Yes, yes, I agree with that. And you know, is it Maslow's law of hierarchical needs? Is it Maslow's? Sure, let's go with that. Of like having the basic needs of safety, security, food, and then you go up and you get into the emotional stuff, and then at the very, very top, correct me if I'm wrong, it's that connection with God or source, or what would be in the religious or spiritual category. And there are a lot of people in the world, thankfully, are now in a place where we have our food taken care of, we have our shelter, we have basic needs, and then our emotional needs taken care of, and now we can open up more in the spiritual realms. Now, of course, that happened throughout centuries as well in different pockets, but it's happening more, especially when you have social media, especially when you have TikTok, Facebook, Insta, where people see it and go, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't have the words for it. Or that's what I was feeling, and now I know other people feel that way as well. And maybe my woo-woo isn't that weird. Or maybe it is, but it's okay. Yeah.
All of the above. I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about your story and how you became a medium and made it your full-time business.
Yes. So when I was 3 is when I remember seeing spirits for the first time. And then when I was 8, which was second grade, I remember having an incredible, like if I really feel into it, I would cry, an incredible, meaningful conversation with a spirit who then I re-met when I was 51, and I'm 53 right now. And that spirit is incredibly integral in my life right now. And I remember telling my mom years later, I was like, oh yeah, when I was 8 years old, I had this conversation with the spirit. I remember that's the first time I spoke with the spirit. And she goes, oh honey, that's not the first time you spoke with the spirit. That's just the first time you remember speaking with a spirit. So I can look back and go, by the age of 8, I could see spirits with my third eye. So that doesn't mean I'm seeing them with my physical eye. It's like if you imagine a photograph in your head, or imagine like replaying a movie and you can see it. So I could see spirit. I could talk with the spirit. So I heard them with my third ear, let's say. I could hear them speaking, and I can feel the emotions of the spirit. So those are 3 different intuitive abilities that I know I had at 8 because of this incredibly meaningful experience that I had. And then going up, or going throughout my life, I had different phases of things. And in each phase, I developed more intuitive abilities or strengthened my natural abilities. And anyone can look at their life in any area, money, whatever their profession is, spiritual growth, emotional growth, whatever it is, and you have your different phases, right? And so one of my phases was when I was in high school, I had a phase of, and this was so challenging for me as a high schooler, I would have a phase where all of a sudden I would be slammed into someone's body who was about to die.
Ooh.
For example, I was slammed into Nancy's body. I don't know who Nancy is. And she was in the back seat of a car. There were 2 friends in the front seat. It was raining, drizzling outside. They were racing the train to get to school on time. And they were hit by the train. So I was in Nancy's body. Meanwhile, I'm in first period in school, and I start shaking and crying, taken to the nurse's office. Nancy's about to die. Nancy's about to die. They have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And the next day in the newspaper, we see the train accident. So this happened for a couple of years. And the last time it happened was that I was put in the body of an elder gentleman. He was in his 70s or 80s. I could feel the seatbelt. I could see the car of the 2 teenage boys. They crossed the line, hit him. I knew one boy would die and one boy would be paralyzed from the waist down. And I heard this man say, Elsa, I didn't get enough time with you. And that was his wife. And I smelt pigs. So I was 17. This is the first time I smelt a message. So those are abilities to smelling and tasting messages. That was the first time I smelled. I go home to my mom, sobbing. I said, Mom, this man's going to have an accident, 7:32 p.m. outside of Toledo, Ohio, on Riverside Drive. And there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing. Next day, she looks in the obits or a newspaper. She finds it. She takes me to Toledo, Ohio, to the hospital to meet this man. And I asked him if that's all that happened. And he says, yes. And I said, now what's up with the pigs? And he goes, oh, I live downwind from a pig farm. It smells terrible. And so it did. It smelled terrible. And after that, his wife, once he got out of the hospital, he invited me and my parents to meet his lovely, lovely wife. And my parents and them became friends. So that was one of my phases. Very difficult for anyone of any age, but also a teenager. What do I do with that? So some of my phases are a lot easier. Some of them are challenging. And so I could go through my life, and I won't take the podcast going through my life, but I had these different phases. And then I was married to a man who was very, very worried for me because he thought the devil was speaking through me. Mm. Now that didn't land in me at all. I'm like, no. I mean, there was no part of me that thought, oh, the devil's telling me. And he would go through the Bible, the Quran, and the Tarot. Not Tarot, that's the Tarot drug. The Bible, the Quran, and something with some other religion, like reading them. I remember like 3 books in a row, like reading, like trying to figure out basically, is my soul saved? Some version of that. And I'm like, you do your process. That's not my process. I know the devil's not speaking to me. And then at some point, I was in the bedroom. He came in the bedroom. He goes, "I figured it out." I was like, "What'd you figure out?" And he said, "You're a prophet." I was like, "What?" He goes, "You're a prophet. Like in the Bible, God comes and speaks to you." And I'm like, "I'm not a prophet." And he goes, "Are you being spoken to by God?" I'm like, "Well, by spirits, not directly by God." And he's like, "You're a prophet." I went, "Great. If that's how you need to label it, wonderful. Maybe in some people's eyes, I'm a prophet. In my eyes, I'm not a prophet at all, but I do connect with the spirit realms." Fast forward many, many decades, I got a divorce, which was incredibly, incredibly significant for me to become full-time psychic. And because I would not have been able to do it when I was married to my husband, when I was married to him. So there's a lot to that, and I've been able to follow my path. I knew ever since I was little, I got visions of seeing myself give readings to people, give group readings, which I love giving group readings, give one-on-one readings, give public stuff. I knew that. And now it's come to fruition. It has for years.
Wow. What a story. I have a gazillion questions, but I think I'll hold them for another podcast episode because
Okay.
what an amazing, traumatic, and powerful experience
Mm.
throughout your whole life. I mean, 3 years old as a toddler, like that's wild to start having those experiences at that
Yeah.
age and
And
to
that
remember it.
that first spirit I saw was, and this is a whole other different subject, that was actually an entity. That was terrifying to me as a child. And it affected me so deeply. I did not get drunk because that entity was associated with alcohol. I accidentally got drunk for the first time when I was 46
Wow.
at a wedding with champagne. It was lovely. It was absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend getting drunk on champagne. Fantastic. No hangover, nothing. It was so good. But that 3-year-old experience affected me so deeply. I'm like, I will not drink.
Wow.
I would drink some, but very rare, like half a drink.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So what do you love most about your work now as a medium?
There are many things I love. One of the things is I love how my body feels. I love how my body feels, like my heart is open, my my physical body's open, my emotional body's open, my mental is open when I want it to be. Through this process, I've learned pretty strong boundaries because I used to just get information where I'd be in fetal position, where I'd be getting so much information. So I now have strong boundaries that are ever evolving, ever growing. But I love how it feels in my body, being intuitive and working with people. But the two basic things are, on the surface, if someone looks in, it looks like I'm being of service to someone. I am helping them connect with their grandmother. I'm helping them connect with their spirit guides, with source or God or the universe, whatever it might be for them. I'm helping give them what I perceive that their guides are sharing information about their life, about their finances, about their love, about their life purpose. So I'm being of service to them. And that feeds an immense part of my soul. And it's a huge part of my meaning and purpose of why I'm here on earth. The other part is, so on surface, it looks like I'm being of service. Underneath that, they are helping me. My clients help me because what happens is I get a lot of information. And if I don't release this information, I feel like a balloon that's filling up, up, up. And I feel it is incredibly uncomfortable. And it gets this like quality of like, I've got to release this. And so I have clients where I'm able to release the information to them. I'm able to give them the information. And I know that if I go 5 days without in general, 5 days without getting a reading, giving a reading, my body gets agitated.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I am so very grateful for all the people I get to give readings to, whether they're paying me, whether they've received a gift, whether I'm giving them the gift of it, and and there's no payment involved. It doesn't matter. It's so it's very much a two-way street.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
a two-way gift. I mean, it's an energetic exchange. So I love
Yeah.
that as
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
and that this is how you make money, that this is how you sustain yourself too, is just
Yeah.
amazing.
And
So,
and I and I make really decent money at it. I'm not a struggling psychic, which is really beautiful. It's been a whole financial value process of what is my value.
and that's yet another whole conversation too
Mhm.
about the spiritual businesses making a living,
Yeah. Making a
deserving to make a
really
living.
decent living. Yeah.
That's great. Amazing. So, given the fact that more than likely most of my audience is not going to be super familiar about the spirit realm, although they may have stumbled across or gotten addicted to the Long Island Medium show like I did a while ago. Um,
I will say, if anyone's asking, because someone asked this of me recently, I think she's absolutely real.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, she's absolutely
Incredibly
real. I
skilled.
agree.
She
Yeah.
is incredible. The things that she says are things that, like how she experiences receiving information. Is she my cup of tea? No. Is she absolutely high level skilled? Absolutely. And I would send people to her if I thought that that person's personality would work with her personality.
Yeah. I love
Give a
that.
little shout out for other psychics.
Everyone has different abilities and skills in the psychic spiritual realm, which has been kind of fun for me in exploring. As I've actually worked with 11 different psychics just in this year alone in 2024, just because I'm so curious. I'm just so fascinated and interested, and I am not there yet. So it is, and maybe I'll never be, I don't know, but
What do you mean you're not there? What's there?
I mean, I'm not able to communicate with the spirit realm directly myself, or at least understand what they're telling me. I do have a very strong sense of intuition, but I don't know where that's coming from, or I don't even often even know in the moment that I'm having an intuitive moment, and I'm just going about my life doing what the impulse tells me to do. So I
So that
love.
is connecting with the spirit realm. You having intuition is connecting because you're getting information from outside of yourself, or your body is telling you information about something outside of yourself or about yourself.
Right.
So just
I
say
know.
you're already there. I just want to
That's
say
right.
that
It's true.
it
I'm
may not
there.
look like a professional psychic because this is our skill set. My financial know-how is not going to look like yours, but it's not less valuable in what I know about finances. So
Yes. And there's certainly circumstances where, like, I have just a knowing of what's going to happen in the future, like a long time in the future, because people are talking about all kinds of things in the world happening. And I'm like, oh, I'm not worried about that. It's going to be like this later. And I don't know where I got that information from. I'm certain it did not come from this human body brain making that up. So you're right. Definitely connected. And I think we all are. I just don't know or realize who, where it's coming from, or how I'm getting the information, that kind of thing yet. And I'm not able to do it on cue yet. Like, I'm not able to ask and receive directly. And
mhm.
so that's what I meant by that, really. But
Got it.
thank you for clarifying, because you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. I need to be better about giving acceptance, about giving myself credit too for where I am and how I am connecting. So
Can
so how would.
can I say one more thing about
Oh
that?
yeah, go for it.
Your natural intuitive ability is the one that I have the least. I have a lot of intuitive abilities, but you have a natural gut feeling. So anyone who's watching this, if you have this gut feeling like I need to wait 5 minutes before I walk out the door, or I need to call my child to check in on them, and there's that just gut, like you just have all the information at once. It almost like just comes in you or rises up from your belly area. That's my least developed skill. So when I feel it in you, I get very excited. I was like, oh, this is what it feels like. So
Oh, you
anyway,
can feel it in me right now as we're talking about it.
so when we have done sessions before,
Oh,
I can just feel it's a very solid, every intuitive ability feels different to me, and yours is very solid, very grounded in your belly.
interesting.
Mhm.
So interesting. I didn't even realize
Yeah.
that you were feeling that too. That's so cool. So, how would you explain what you do to a novice or somebody who's totally unfamiliar with the spiritual business of being a medium?
Yeah. So it's a great question. So a lot of us have a framework of religion, whether we're religious or not, whether we used to go to church, whether we never go to church, whether we're there every Sunday. And so there's a quality of that, of connecting with something that is higher than us. But in the spiritual realm, we're also connecting with us. Our bodies can give us information about the outside world. Our physical bodies could give us information. We might have a constriction in our belly. Our heart might be wide open when someone walks in the door. You're like, oh, there's something about this person that I feel connected with. Our body's giving us the physical sensations, the emotional sensations of, I feel good around this person. It's giving us information about that person. Or I feel stressed, but I didn't feel stressed a moment ago. So our bodies can give us information, and then we can get information outside of ourselves. So when I see a spirit, and this might be a challenging concept for some people, I see them right here in this white right quadrant of myself. I do not see spirits in my head. I can see them up when I look up or look at them, but in general, I have this image right here, or I can hear them right here. And I will often see words written, and it'll just go like, she is capable of whatever. Like I will see the words floating.
Typed out in front of
Yeah,
you.
typed out. It looks like a type out. And if it's all capital, that means that spirit guide is like, really listen, this is what we mean, right? Someone might have a come to Jesus talk, or a spirit guide might be like, yes, we're rooting for you. So for me, everyone, it's different, but for me, what it looks like is we have team of lights or family of light. That's just what I call them. My team of light lines up here, and your team of light lines up here. So I am connecting with these beings who have more understanding than what we do at the moment. They have more access to their information, their experience, to their wisdom, to their compassion than we as humans have. They can give us this information or send us healing or love, and then we choose to accept it or not. And so I will see your spirit guides here. If any angels come in, I see them here. If any helpers come in, and helpers is a huge category, I see them here. And any loved ones who've crossed over, I see them here. So just what is the spiritual realm like? I would say it's something greater than us, something outside of us. But one of the key things for me in my learnings is, yes, it's greater than us, but we are also great. Whatever that might be. We are also amazing beings of light who happen to be in these human bodies right now. And we are all evolving. We're all making messes. We're all learning. And ideally, we change all of that into wisdom and compassion and love for ourselves and for others.
I love that. And so when you're connecting with the folks in front of you, it can be deceased loved ones or spirit guides or angels, or
it could be
famous
lots
people.
Of different, yes. And I haven't met a lot of famous people, but I certainly have. And two of my guides are famous, and I'm not going to say their names because it's just, I have a relationship with them because they specifically help me with certain things. But like Amy, when you and I do a session, you might have a basic 5 staff with you, 5 spirits walking with you. And then as we're talking, other spirits might come in to answer certain things. And so with you, 3 spirit guides. When we're talking about your children, sometimes an angel will come in to talk, one of their guardian angels. You always have helpers around you because you're constantly doing new projects. And so those helpers often help with projects. And then you'll have some loved ones who crossed over. So for you, like a basic 5-person staff. So when I'm working with someone, I literally see like 5 beings walking in with them, like, all right, we have a meeting. This is our meeting. What are we going to talk about? And so that's how I see it.
That is so fun.
And we can say no. Like I've sent people away. Like I'm talking with someone and say someone was severely abused by one of their family members, and that they've died and they come in and I can see this person's whole body just seize up. And I go, actually, go away.
Not the day.
Yeah, today is not the day. Yeah.
And so when you're having a session with somebody, you are seeing, feeling, tasting, smelling, hearing, like all of it. And you're experiencing basically life as the person who you're having a session with, right? Like you feel the emotions, that all of it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you encapsulated that so beautifully and have that awareness. Yes. So when I do a session, I'm experiencing parts of that person's life on every level. I feel it in my body, the emotions, taste it, smell it, all of that. So my full time as a psychic cannot work 40 hours a week. There's no way. We would blow out, we would get physically sick, we would get energetically sick. Because I am experiencing that person's life, and not just like their current life. I might experience life from childhood, what their life might be like a year from now, like all different kinds of scenes and scenarios. It's, yeah.
Information overload.
It is not information overload for me now and hasn't been for a long time.
But it would be if you had 40 hours a week of it. It would be.
Oh, yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. I now know how to care for my body very well. Yeah. To be
Excellent.
able to do what I do.
So would you be willing to do a quick demo of this?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Awesome.
So I'm going to officially call everyone in how I typically call people in. That helps me sync up more with you, and it helps me get more grounded and centered. I could just start giving a psychic reading, but my preference is I do this because it also then feels more sacred to me. Mm-hmm. Ritual and sacred things resonate really well for myself. Okay,
I love it.
I'm going to call them in.
And before you start, real quick, just want to clarify for everyone watching or listening, we are not in the same room, the same building. We are not together. So this is happening over the internet.
Yeah. I am in my living room.
So you don't have to be with me or touch me or anything to actually be able to do this. So yeah.
Yeah. The other day, my first clients were in Brazil. My second client was in Chicago. My third client, I remember, somewhere else in the world. Like, it's just, I work with clients all over the world with multiple people. I'm working currently with a community in Brazil. So the entire community I'm working with. And then other times it's one-on-one, which is the most common. Yeah.
So it's really just a matter of intention.
Yes.
Intention to connect with the energy of the person that you're with or talking to.
What's the time container for this? Because your guides can talk and talk. I love it. I mean, most people, I don't have my cell phones turned off, so I can't even see my clock.
We'll just let it be organic, or if you get tired, we can stop. We'll just do whatever feels good to both of us.
I won't get tired. I get energized from this, actually. I will not get tired. That sounds great. Okay. So I am going to close my eyes and call everyone in. You are welcome to have your eyes open or closed. It's up to you. Calling upon my spirit guides, angels, helpers, and loved ones. Calling upon Amy's spirit guides, welcome. Angels, welcome. Helpers, welcome. And loved ones who've crossed over, welcome. Putting a bubble of protection and boundaries around Amy and myself, only that which is 100% of the light and love vibration may enter our bubble 100% for the highest best. Accessing my higher self, Amy's higher self, the highest frequencies available. Please help me be a vehicle of love, guidance, and healing, and guide me along the way. Thank you. This session is open. Okay, beautiful. So first of all, I just want to say I see 3 spirit guides here. I see 2 angels here. And so some people may not believe in angels or connect with them. That's fine. In my perspective, everyone has a guardian angel. And so each of these guardian angels have to do with your children. Okay.
2
children, correct?
I have 2.
You don't have more than 2, right? Good. Okay. So You have, they each are there and they're talking about traveling, but we might talk about that after the session, having to do with your kids traveling. Okay. And then you have helpers here, and you have a new helper, and he is a scientist, which is really interesting. This like logical, what do you call it? Method, something. My stepdad's a scientist. If he was dead, he'd be rolling over in his grave. Scientific method. Okay, he's talking about how you are analyzing numerous things in your life, what's working, what's not working, tweaking here and there. Like it is revved up to 1,000% right now. And he's here helping you because you work so well in the logical realm, and that is your natural arena. And thank you. He just showed me an image, so I don't know what this image means, but of you riding a lion and having a collar and leash on the lion, and you're trying to tame it. So it's curious what that, he wants me to rephrase that. So this is a thing where I see the picture and I'm putting words to it. Sometimes I hear words that makes it really easy for me, but in this case, I'm seeing it. He's like, no, she's not trying to tame it. She's trying to work with it. And so this is really important, that something in your life feels out of your control and wild. And
Everything.
Feel it. Okay. And you're wanting to work with it and ride it. So he says this is really important, to ride it, not try to control it, or it follows you. There is only riding. There's no stopping this wild animal. There's no stopping it. And it feels incredibly powerful. It can feel like, this is really personal, but do you feel like you're going crazy at times?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So this is where I'm feeling emotions. Like I could cry, like feeling that, like I'm actually going crazy. Do I need some help here? And it's part of this immense energetic, not drive. It's like a tidal wave has come in your life. It's been here for a while, but it's actually really amped up a lot, and you just got to ride the wave. If you don't ride the wave, you could be pulled under. That's the fear, but you're not going to be pulled under. You are very, very skilled in your life, very skilled at what you do.
Okay. And this is related to my work because he's
it's related
scientific.
to your work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So he's in here to help you in this next stage of your life. Also, he wants to say that something that's going on is, I know you've been divorced for a while. Actually, I don't know that. How long have you been divorced?
Well, I've been divorced twice from my children's father for almost 16 years.
Okay. And the second divorce
has been 7 years. So still quite a while. Yeah.
Okay. So the second divorce, we're referring to that one, not the first one. There's a new learning to be had of that second divorce. I don't know if you've been thinking about that, of like some way you were in that and just having some new awareness. And that doesn't mean you did something wrong or poor behavior, or you listen to his words instead of yours, or what. I don't actually know what it is, but there's this aha that's going to happen shortly, and that having to do with your second marriage. Okay. This is one of the gifts of our really significant relationships, whatever it is, marriages, parents, like siblings, old best friends, whatever it is, that we get to still learn and grow from them whenever that happens. Okay, so you have your helpers, and then loved ones who've crossed over. And we're actually not going to, I hear this, we're not going to do that right now. But you have family members coming in. And this is the second reference. I didn't say the first reference, but this is the second reference that they made to, were gladiators in Rome?
Yeah.
Greece. Oh, this is showing my lack of whatever.
I'm not a history buff either.
Gladiator time. You know, there's some people who are watching, they're like, oh my gosh.
Everyone.
Whatever. Okay.
This is a finance podcast.
Okay, good. Gladiator time, whatever. I don't know if gladiator time was 50 years, 300 years. I don't know. One of your lives. So we're going to get even weirder here. One of your lives was in that time period, and it feels like you were connected with the gladiator community. I don't know if that means you were a gladiator, you were a wife of a gladiator, you were a trainer, but you were in it. And it feels like right now in this, it is that energy of
Yes.
like that intense energy, and I'm going to fight my way out, and I'm going to make this work, and this is hard, and this has been put on me, and or parts of it I've chosen, but it's like it is this fighting energy. So one of the possibilities is taking the focus and drive of that fighting energy and shifting it slightly to be, we don't need to be in fight mode anymore. We can release that and be in, can you give me words for that? They keep saying drive mode. I don't know what that means. But to be that energy can help drive you forward versus you being depleted or you having basically a trauma response. Basically fight, flight, whatnot, like I'm in fight mode. I got to go, go, go. Because it feels like you have some trauma responses coming up right now in your life. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
As this morning. Yes.
And great. So I often say great as in great that we get to look at these challenging parts of our lives. Like if someone's like, yeah, my life is wonderful and airy fairy, I'm like, awesome. I can't, there's not much to work with that. But if someone says, listen, I'm having a really fucking shitstorm right now, and I'm in trauma and I'm in fight mode, I can work with that. Because we all have trauma responses at some point, and it feels like you've been in one for a while.
Yes.
It feels pretty intense.
Yes.
And the encouragement is when you notice yourself in it, to actually, when you're not in it, to be able to ask yourself, what can I do for myself at that moment when I'm in fight mode? Is it call my best friend and ask her to say really kind things about me? Is it go for a walk outside? Is it take a bubble bath? Is it talk with my mind, and I have certain things that I know will feel good, and so I'm going to write them down on my cell phone so I don't have to reinvent the wheel when I'm in it. And I go, okay, Amy, you are worthy, you are loved, you are cared for, you've got this, you go girl. Whatever it might be, you already have it written down. You've already called your best friend and say, hey, sometimes I'm in fight mode, and can I call you and say, I'm in trauma right now, can you say some really lovely things to me? And you already have that, and your best friend's like, of course, absolutely. And if I don't answer, you text me, I'm in trauma, can you pick up your phone? Got it.
Okay. Do they give you any specific suggestions of which of those options would be most helpful for me, or is it just explore?
It felt like two things, and the second one they're just telling me just now, so I haven't said it. One is talking to your brain of the things said on your cell phone, because if your brain is convinced, often the rest of you, this is just for you, I'm not saying for other people, this is not actually my particular thing, but for you, it feels like if your brain is convinced, your brain can tell the rest of your body, oh, all is well here, we've got this. It's almost like a construction site. We've got it, everything, we've got oil for the wheels, and we've got gasoline, we've got it, we're moving on, and the rest of the body can relax. The second thing is, if you ever do any kind of healing work for your inner child, to be able to talk with your little girl and go, I hear you're scared right now. I hear you don't know what's going to happen next or understand what's happening right now. And you're actually okay. You have food, you have safety, you have your children, you have all your basic needs taken care of, and then some. And you can imagine, like for me, softness is really important. So I might imagine a down comforter around me, or I might literally go up to my bedroom and get cuddly in my down comforter and give my little self what it needs in that moment. Yeah. How you doing?
It really resonates. I'm good. That was really helpful. I think of the trauma response that you're referring to as a couple of possible things. So I'm curious about that. Is this related to work or family or
Yeah.
both? Because I imagine they're coming from different places.
Yeah. So this one's related to work.
Okay.
And when we learn something in a certain area, one of the beauties is we can also, if applicable, use it in another area as well. It can also go to family. This particular thing has to do with work. But isn't it interesting? Gladiator fighter, having this perspective that I have to fight to get what I want, or I have to fight this situation because it's not what I want, and I have to fight myself out of it. And then it's affecting your little girl. Was like, I don't feel safe here and I don't know what to do. Because also one of your qualities is I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like it is very much in your energetic field. It's not my particular thing. I have other things. I have other non-truths. I have other non-beliefs.
You mean I don't have the weight of the world on my shoulders?
Exactly. You don't actually. So you don't have the weight of the world, but I will acknowledge that it feels like you do.
The
And
brain thinks so anyway.
yeah, and it's really important. The non-truth is you think you have the weight. The truth is you don't have the weight of the world on your shoulders. The truth also is you feel like you do. And both of those are they're both working. So how do you heal or shift or nurture that part of yourself that you think you have the weight of the world on your shoulders? And thank you. And they're sharing how over time you've grown your community. It actually, I don't know if this is the case. It feels like it's almost painful growing, of like I'm slowly growing the people who I can depend on and trust and who can support me. Is this the case?
Yeah.
If I was a flower opening up, it feels like, okay, we're opening. This is so painful. And in that opening, that's how they're letting me feel and sense how the process has been for you to open up, connect with people, develop respect and trust for them, and let them trust and respect you, and then be able to lean on them. Because in general, you're great to be leaned on.
Yes, always.
And your process is, I can actually lean on others, and I'm worthy enough and valuable enough to lean on people. I'm worth. Thank you. Who's talking? This is still your helper. Your helper is rocking. Thank you. He's very easy to talk with, by the way. So thank you very much for that. I forgot what you just said. What did you say? So what happens is I get information, and if I don't say it right then, the information just goes out of it. So it's not like the thought came in my mind. And if I don't say it right then, it's still there. So he said something, and then I said something else, and so now I'm forgetting what he said. Thank you. He reminded me. When you ask someone for support, help, when you reach out to them, there's that idea that it's a gift to them, that you've given them a gift to be able
That's being able to help me.
Can you imagine your son or your daughter never asking for help?
Oh gosh. That's a great way to put it.
It would be horrible. Actually, that really tips me. It would be so disconnected. Like you have so much to offer them that if you think your children need advice, they need money, they need support, emotional support, and it is a gift that we get to give our children support. And it's set up like, they need our support. It is the same or similar with our friends. There's a gift to be able to support them when we're available and we have the boundaries and all that stuff. So yes, all that. And it's a gift for them to be able to support you.
And this is such a brilliant topic to cover on the podcast today, especially because a lot of my community professionally is people who are going through a divorce or people who are in the divorce industry professionally and work with people who are going through it. And I always remind my clients and colleagues that it is so incredibly important to rely on your tribe when you are
Yes.
going through this time, because you cannot be expected to do it alone. It is too much for any one person to have to bear on top of all the other daily life.
I currently have one client who's going through one of the horrifics, right? And divorces, and she does not have friends, and she gets sessions with me, and I'm delighted that she has me to support her, and ideally she will be able to come out of her shell and have friends in the future. But can you imagine, like, there are some people who do not have a support system going through a divorce. You imagine?
I didn't, but that's why I won't allow my clients or anybody that I know going through it to ever have the same situation.
Wow, you're a strong woman. And
it only made me stronger.
Strong and soft.
Right.
Yes.
I'm going to ride the lion.
Yes. So I'm going to bring the psychic session to a close, and we can continue on, even though we're in psychic space. So I'm just going to give thanks to everyone. I'm going to close my eyes. You can have your eyes open if you want. Thank you to all those who came in to support Amy, support myself, help give us guidance, love, and care. And I send you all on your own. Thank you so much. I meant all on your way. That's funny. They got it. But anyway, they're still staying anyway. But that's how I officially close a session. Yeah.
So then did they keep, I mean, if they stick around, then they keep talking to you while we're still talking. Okay. So you just have to tune it out if it's not in your.
Yeah, but they'll usually help me. So because every question you ask me can have 10 answers, right? So they might give me like, oh, answer it this way. And then I get to decide whether I want to answer it that way or not. I mean,
free will. You have free will.
They say, because they're pretty good. They're pretty solid insights. Yeah.
They have access to a lot more information than we humans do. So
my girlfriend says it's like I'm cheating, but she says it in a loving way. She's like, that's cheating. You just ask them. I'm like, yeah. It feels good though to be able to be so insanely supported.
I call it resourceful, not cheating.
There we go. She says it's a joke. It's really cute. Yeah, I have immense resources.
So you talked about how you have a husband too.
Yes.
And how your business really took off or was able to get started after you got divorced. So was the experience of your divorce itself another layer of spiritual awakening for you, like so many others who go through a divorce? And, can you talk a little bit about what you're comfortable with sharing about that?
Yes. So if I was still married and the marriage was how it was, I was married 23 years. If the marriage was still how it was, I would not be a professional psychic today, because my husband had a lot of constriction around psychic stuff. Even though I was actively psychic, giving messages to people, I would not have my business how I have it, because he would be too scared. One of the things that happened when I said I wanted a divorce, it was pretty much the day I said I wanted a divorce, I felt free. I told him, I would say, like, I feel like I've been a cage bird and now I'm out of the cage and I'm spreading my wings. And I'm sure that is a common feeling for women, men, different people. And in that freedom, I was able to be more of my authentic self, and more of my authentic self is really dabbling in the spirit realms, whether it be I'm giving a session, I'm attending some spiritual event, whatever it might be. And but But an enormous thing that happened, or significant thing that happened in my marriage, towards the end of my marriage, that has deeply, beautifully affected my psychic abilities to expand, was that I realized in the marriage that I really focused on what his needs were and what his desires were. And there was a lot to it. If I didn't focus on what his needs and desires were a lot of ramifications.
Mhm.
So, but in it, I had a fantastic therapist, Bob, thank you, and Bob McGarry, Robert McGarry, if anyone wants to look him up. And he helped me see that everyone, including myself, is valuable and worthy. So we are valuable and worthy. We don't need to do anything else to make us more valuable. We don't need to have higher education, different bodies, larger bank account. Just like a baby who's born, the baby doesn't need to have fuller hair, smile more, have less gas. That baby is loved and treasured just how they are. So then I went to this next step of, wait, if I'm valuable, then my needs are valuable. And I went through this whole process, and looking back, I realized it was a 5-step process that, again, deeply affected my intuitive abilities. And the 5-step process was, I realized my needs are valuable. The second part was figuring out what my needs were. And this is the big step that affected my spiritual work, where I got to feel into myself and like, what do I need right now? I got into the habit of, throughout the day, what do I need right now? And I would feel this need rise up. I needed to take a deep breath. Or I need to feel the sun on my body. I go out, I'd be like, oh, I just need it for like 30 seconds. That's all I needed. Or I need a cuddle. I need a platonic cuddle. I'm going to call my friend to ask for a platonic cuddle. What do I need right now? So that was the second thing. The third thing, which was the hardest, asking for what I needed. I felt like it about killed me, because I could be rejected, because I might have to defend my needs. So all the stuff. So vocalizing it was incredibly difficult for me. And I did it. Well done, Nicole. And fourth thing is realizing it is no one's responsibility to meet my needs. No one is responsible to. I'm the only person responsible to getting my needs met. So in our society, if you are married, we have this concept that is your spouse's responsibility to meet your needs. And from my perspective, that is not the truth. Our spouses are going to want to meet our needs with many things, or feel like our relationship is going to do really well if we meet each other's needs. But our spouse actually can say no. They're a full human being that can say, autonomous human being that can say no. If I ask my husband, hey, I would really like to cuddle now, he can say, no, I'm not available to cuddle, but I will be after dinner. Or I'm not available to cuddle right now, but I will tomorrow. Or, cuddling just feels uncomfortable to me, but can we hold hands while staring at each other and saying sweet things to each other? So it's no one else's responsibility to meet my needs. And the fifth thing is, if that person says no, I get to go find another way to meet my needs. All of that whole process worked into, which I had no idea it would, worked into helping me develop my intuitive abilities immensely. I now have stronger boundaries with spirits. I can tell spirits to leave. I can tell spirits, there was a time period where they would come and wake me up in the middle of the night. That was when I had after 2 years of that, I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted. I called my first business meeting. Like, do not wake me up in the middle of the night, office hours only. It also helped me discern, so I could discern before what my needs were. This helped me discern what intuition was coming in and what messages was coming in. And that discernment can help most people in any area, figuring out what they need, what's important in this situation, discerning what's happening with that person, what we want in our lives, what we don't want, how we can show up for them. And so that discernment was massive. And that helped with my next level of spiritual awakening, just like in the very beginning when you said, I'm not there yet. And I had the perspective of you actually already are there. And then I understood you mean not there, like to my aspect of it, but it helped me have greater awareness of my abilities, how I'm able to show up in the world, how I can be of service, how it's benefiting me as well, all of that stuff. And it really helped me open up even more to quite psychic experiences, like out of this world psychic experiences. So it's a
That's
very
amazing.
long answer, but yes.
But powerful. I mean, and it's true. I think that divorce is a pivotal point in every single human's life who gets divorced. Like there is no
Yes.
way around it. It is very, very significant in
Yes.
whether it was a convenience marriage or whatever it is, whatever the reason, how short or long the marriage was, there is something powerful about that moment, and that we have an opportunity to take advantage of the lessons, which I wonder if the lesson you just told me, or my helper just told you, that I was going to get from my second marriage, you just gave me just now. I don't know.
Oh, thank you. What I hear your helper saying is for me to not say, but for you to, instead of having this outside person going yes or no, for you to feel into that more. Because when you feel into that more, you get to feel more into that own process of how of
Mhm.
those 5 steps or whatever speaks to you. You could look at one of those steps and see how that feels.
And what you said really, it resonated so much with the concept of nobody else is responsible for meeting my needs but me. And that was a big theme in that long distance marriage. So I'm putting a pin in that to think about later after we're finished today.
Great. Great. Yay.
Thank you for that feedback. But
And
also, go ahead.
and notice I said something about you feel into that, and you said you think into that. And that's how just a beautiful, like where we shine in our own areas. I'm such a feeler and you're such a thinker. And so it's really yummy for me to feel your system because I get to feel your thinking, which I'm not as much in my head. I'm more in my body. And so this is one of the reasons why I love doing sessions. I'm like, oh, that's what it's like to think a whole lot. It's really funny.
It's exhausting. But yes, it's probably cool to get to see how other people
Yeah,
operate and maybe try to implement whatever seems interesting or helpful for you in your own life.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So for somebody who is in the thick of a divorce right now, especially one that is triggering a spiritual awakening, maybe a first or maybe another, what advice would you give to that person?
Mm. Two things come to mind is keep checking with yourself of what you need. Of I feel like I have a lot of energy running through me, or I skip coffee for like I stopped drinking coffee because it was like ooh, like that for I already have a lot of energy running through me. Um, and take see what you need, take care of yourself in whatever way that is to calm your system, to be out in nature. Nature is huge. And connecting with a community if that feels right to you. So connecting with a community of other people who are also going through spiritual awakenings or already did. You can ask the weird questions, like the questions that people say, Nicole, I have this weird question. Like, believe me, it's not going to be weird. Like it's very rare that I'm like, wow, wasn't expecting that one. And so connecting with a community. And if someone's in Austin, there are a couple communities that I can think of. One is I give free intuitive development circle the first Tuesday of every month. And someone can reach out through my website, which we'll talk about later, which is just my name. Um, and so that's free because it's really important to me that I always have something free that I'm offering the community. There's also, if someone goes to a Facebook group, it's called Austin Spiritual Awakening. Austin Spiritual Awakening. Every month they have different topics. It could be channeling, it could be spiritual awakening, it could be gods and goddesses. It could be all sorts of things. So maybe the topic itself doesn't even particularly intrigue someone one year or one month, like Atlantis or whatever it is, but you get to be around people and have really interesting conversations. And that one is given by Tiana Roser, and it's just a fantastic group. So figuring out, seeing what you need in each moment, connecting with people, getting readings from me or someone else so you can ask these questions. And also, it's really incredible to be validated. Someone might come to me having a spiritual awakening. They don't tell me. It's very rare that someone will tell me why they're getting a reading. It's very, very rare. So they might be coming to talk with grandma. They might be coming for a spiritual awakening. They might be going through a divorce. I don't know beforehand. Their spirits come in and tell me. So how validating is it for them, where I'm like, whoa, you are in massive expansion phase right now. And your orientation is off and you're ungrounded, and you're going to get regrounded and reoriented into a whole new place in your life. So yeah.
Those are both great pieces of advice. So figure out what you need, feel into your body or think with your mind, whatever way you come to that conclusion, and reach out for support to community or professionals. And you're right that there's Facebook groups all over the world for spiritual awakenings that have thousands of members, and people are posting in them all day, every day, with all kinds of random and interesting questions that just make us feel less alone with all of this. And what I've noticed is that people who are getting divorced are just starting to question the truth about everything that they've believed to be the case for so long. And I think that is the platform that I'm standing on, and I think that that's part of that burden that you were referring to earlier of the world on my shoulders, is that I feel this sense of responsibility to help people see the truth of the way things really are in reality, in the real world. So less of the spiritual, more, so definitely a lot of the spiritual, but more of the practical truth, and the fact that we've just accepted things as it has to be this way for decades or centuries, that we don't have to actually accept if we actually allow ourselves to consider that there might be another option and be willing to be brave enough to try something else. And divorce is a big one of those times that requires a lot of bravery to step into a whole new life and a whole new world. And there's usually, especially when they come to me, a lot of fear around money and how they're going to make it on their own, and why this is happening to them, why they're feeling so abandoned, or so many different yet similar emotions among all the clients that I've seen, people who've gone through and my own divorces as well. And so I agree. I think your advice sounds great, to figure out what it is that you need and go get it, and reach out for support, whether it's community or individual help. That, it does. I joke, it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a village to get divorced, because it is just complicated, it's stressful, and there is no reason for us to try to do it all on our own. There is help out there, and we should take advantage of that support if we need it.
Absolutely. And I'd also like to add to that, because they're telling me to, if someone has an interest, an intrigue, or a belief that maybe has already existed in something larger than themselves, whether it be through religion, a spiritual group, to maybe partake in that, whether it be Christianity, Muslim, pagan, whatever it might be, because that can feel like having a foundation of something that speaks not only to their minds, their hearts, but also to their soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And probably a sense of familiarity and safety within that community if they've been a part of it previously. So yeah, I agree. That's a great idea. Helper guide, whoever that was that said that.
He's your helper. He's your helper guide. Who said it? Yeah.
Got it.
This is your spirit guide or one of my guides. It was your guide. Yeah.
So is there anything else that you want to share as it relates to the spiritual awakening process or divorce, or anything helpful for folks from your own experience?
Yeah. So there's some technical stuff of a spiritual awakening. And so one of the things that might happen is a person might get sick. A person might have a fever. They may feel like they have a cold or the flu, whether they actually have it or not. It is in a spiritual awakening. Say, I'm not a scientist, but say our bodies generally have a certain cycles per second of energy running. Boy, I could be saying so the wrong thing, but this is how I think about it. And in a spiritual awakening, we might be raising our energetic level or expanding it out, and it has an effect on us. It's very, very, very rare that I cook meat in my house. Like, it's been years, but there was one phase that I was going through of doing a massive expansion, and I probably had meat 5 times a day for like 3 months, and it was something that I needed in that moment. So I honored my body for it. So someone can feel physically sick. They might get depressed. They might have this massive energy and then massive down. They might be questioning a lot. What's the truth? I know by lowercase t, the truth that life can be challenging and pretty amazing, but then the capital T truth is a completely different thing of like, oh, everyone has purpose in their life. And what's my purpose in my life? And is there a God or goddess? Is there, like, what are the capital T truths? And people can have more awarenesses of what that is. And to really be able to support someone's mental health as well. In spiritual awakening, someone might think they're going crazy. And someone may think, oh my gosh, I'm hearing things, I'm sensing things, I feel a hand on my shoulder and it feels comforting, but I was startled by it. Or am I going crazy? And I want to say there's a group of people, we're aware of, that we have mental health challenges and need support of a psychiatrist, a therapist, medicine, whatever it might be. So I'm not talking about that particular group right now. In spiritual awakening, and it can feel like we do a little dance in that area. And sometimes people come see me and ask me, am I crazy? And I say, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I cannot do any diagnosing at all. And yet, from my perspective, I can see they're now seeing spirits, but that are really there. But I have clients who I can see they have paranoid psychosis. They have some psychosis going on. Again, I can't diagnose, but I can recommend the person who has some psychosis to go see a psychiatrist. And so just when someone has this big spiritual awakening, sometimes they can feel like they're going crazy. And they're not. Well, lowercase t, they're going crazy. But capital case T, they're not.
It ends up being crazy in a good way. It doesn't feel like it in the moment, but in the end, it actually turns out to be very enlightening and super valuable. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe everybody who's going through spiritual awakening is riding the lion with a leash.
Yes, riding lion with a leash. And they also just showed me when we give birth, when we're actually in labor, there are moments where women can hallucinate. There are moments when we are out of our bodies, like gone. There are moments when we're like, I can't handle this. And then the baby's born. And
I forget it all.
And then we have more children. And so it can feel like that. It's more intensity than we can actually handle, yet we are handling it. We need support, and we feel like we're going crazy. And it's also amazing. I had, during my second child's birth, I had a mantra rise up in me. And I had this mantra that I would say every time I go into contractions. And that mantra lasted for hours until I gave birth with my child. And then years later, she made a painting having to do with that mantra, which now hangs over my bed. With my first child, there was no mantra in the labor. There was like, oh, fuck, it's 25 hours of no mantras. and just incredible. And it was an incredible birth that I learned a lot about myself in that first child. But anyway, yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Really, really helpful information. Thank you for sharing all of that, Nicole.
Yeah.
So last couple of questions and then we'll wrap up. what is your interpretation of what the podcast title Money to Meaning is all about? And why did you say yes to be a guest on that podcast?
Money has been a really interesting journey for me. And on the surface, it could look like I'm making money to provide food and a home, which are all incredibly valuable things. And now I'm at a point I could buy shoes that are in fashion that I'm not going to be wearing next year. Like that feels like a superficial quality, but there's a significance, there's a meaningful significance that I'm able to. When I was young, my family was in extreme poverty. And my mom worked full time. My dad, when I was 2 weeks old, my dad was gone. And so my mom was thrust into poverty when I was 2 weeks old with 3 children. She was 24 and only a high school education. So during the day, she worked full time, and in the evenings, she went to college. And so imagine just doing one class at a time. It took her years to finish. So her making money was meaningful because it helped us survive. And she chose that her daytime job was something that was incredibly important to her. She worked with mentally and physically challenged adults, ran group homes for 25 years. And our childhood was such that food was not abundant. We didn't have abundance of physical things. And just one example, at Christmas, there was no Christmas tree, there was no decorations, and we got one Slinky for all 3 of us children, and that was what my mom could afford. And but we always had love. We were always taking care of the best that she could. So my journey with money, living in a highly impoverished area where there was a lot of violence, a lot of sexual abuse, not violence or sexual abuse in my household. My household was solid, but there was a lot. And money was at the core of so much of that disease and that dishealth. And so my journey with money of I can having this belief of I can only have just enough. I will only ever get just enough to survive, and shifting into having an incredibly meaningful profession, incredibly meaningful. And the fuller I feel in my profession, the fuller I'm able to have a new relationship with money and being able to have this. I shifted a couple of years ago where I went, wait, I want to play with money. I want to play with this idea of creating something. So if I can create money, then I can create other things. Or if I'm already creating other things consciously, I got to look at where am I creating those things consciously? Well, I was consciously creating my business and I was doing well. So how was I doing that? And then how can I apply it to money? And for me to create something of value, it has to be meaningful to me. And of value and sustainable. And so my whole relationship with money completely changed when I looked at it as playing with it and playing with the energy of money. And that I have this thing that I often say to myself, if I won the lottery, what would I do differently in my life and what would I keep the same? And in general, 80% of my life, I would keep the same. I would still be seeing clients. I have to see clients, or else
your body will explode.
It is for the health, my mental, emotional, spiritual health. I have to see clients, and it's important for me to do that work out in the world. I would still live in Austin. I would get a different house. I love you, living room and house, but I would get a different house and whatnot. There are some things I would change, but most things I would stay the same, which tells me I'm already living a meaningful life. So when you ask me on this podcast, one, I adore you. I adore that we get to know each other a little more and a little more and a little more. And every time I'm around you, I fangirl a bit. I'm like, oh,
Really? Oh,
you're
goodness.
amazing. And I keep telling people about, I mean, you've been to my psychic group readings, and then I'm like, if anyone needs assistance in this particular, Amy's the woman to go to. And I send people to you. I tell people about you so that it's your podcast. I'm such a yes. And then you get money, which has been my number one challenge in my life has been money. So it's my greatest teacher.
Hmm.
I'm going to rephrase that. It's been one of my one of my greatest challenges. So it's been an enormous teacher. And then when you bring meaningful life, my whole life, I go on what is meaningful. That's easy for me. When I was young, I knew I was going to be a professional psychic. I knew I was going to give psychic group readings because I had visions of it. That's easy for me. Money was not easy for me. And I'm still so excited to learn and grow immensely when it comes to the playground of money. So when you ask me on this podcast, I'm like, well, that's funny because I'm not like a multimillionaire. I'm not like whatever, but I sure can have fun with money. And I absolutely have fun with meaningful experiences and meaningful life.
I love that. I love that. And I'm humbled by everything you've just said. And I think I like to look at money as a playground too. I think that's why I did end up making a career out of it, because of the fact that numbers and money is fun and interesting. And yet we have built such a society of lack, built on lack and fear. And what I want to put out there with this podcast and with a lot of the other work that I'm doing is that what is enough? What is enough for what we want, for the life that we want? And how do we get enough? Do we need more than enough? Or is that a fear-based mentality? And how can we heal from that if that is within us? So it's part of my work too. I'm working on it all at the same time, maybe a few steps ahead of the folks that I'm talking to, but or working with. But I'm there as well. It feels really important to be able to get to a place of comfort and contentment with money and whatever enough money is to live that life that it is that we want. So
those are such great questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so this was such a great interview, and I'm so grateful, Nicole, that you did this with me. I would love to be able to share with my audience how they can find you if they're interested in a session, because you can do that worldwide, or if they're local or willing and able to come to the Austin area to do some of your other in-person, which your in-person events are amazing too, by the way. Like, I'm still tearing up from our last group session when I think about it, when I remember it. So
that was a biggie.
It was huge. You remember?
I remember. So Amy's referring to when I'm in psychic space, when I leave psychic space, I often don't remember what was said. And so people even come up to me and go, oh, that was an amazing session you did with me 3 years ago. And I don't even remember the person. Like it's embarrassing. And I've come to accept it that I often don't remember, but I remember that session.
I think it's a good thing you don't remember, because it would be overwhelming to have to internalize all that information from so many people.
Keep all those nuggets of information about everyone. And I'm great at keeping secrets because I forget. But I definitely remember that last group session because it was so incredibly powerful. And you were the center of so much love.
Mm. So where can they find you if they want to work with you?
So the main way is my website, which is NicoleParish.com. NicoleParish.com. I have a Facebook group that I don't remember what, I think it's Nicole Parish Psychic Medium. I think that's what it is. But if you reach out through my through my website, which I do not keep updated, that website was made however many years ago, never updated. So people just reach out and ask me, like, what's your next coming events? Or more importantly, they ask me what my Facebook group link is. I send that to them, and that's where I keep everything updated. Any classes I have coming up. I have a psychic group reading coming up. I think in 3 weeks, something like that. I do another group with Sharon Hudson doing a heart math and where we do qigong and heart opening exercises, and then I do a psychic group reading, and then I'm doing a group coming up with Emily Sternfeld. What are we doing? Where I'm doing energetic clearing and grounding exercises, energetic hygiene, and then she's going to lead us into Akashic Records reading. And so, yeah, it's really,
amazing.
I'm super excited. I love the Akashic Records.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I work with Tiffany Asha, where she will do sound bowl, sound healing, and yoga. And then I'll do a psychic group reading at the end of that. And so I love, love, love collaborating. It is so much fun.
So healing for everyone who attends too. Like I will say, I've been to several of your events, and every time I walk away feeling such a huge sense of relief, like I just went for 5 years of therapy in a couple of hours. So highly, highly recommended. I mean, even if, the time devoted to me individually is just a few seconds, doesn't matter. The whole event is so worth it. So valuable and healing. So
I think that really does a huge nod to we can heal as a community. So we hear someone else going through a divorce and who is bankrupt, and something that they learned about their own inner strength or fortitude, or that they could lean on their mom and heal that relationship with their mom. And I'm giving a psychic reading having to do with them, and the rest of the group is just sobbing, just in tears. And it speaks to some area of ourselves. So when we hear other people's stories, experiences, we also get to grow and expand and love on this person who we don't even know. Many people come in, they're strangers, and they may never see that person again. And it's just the testament to group healing, group shifting and evolving. And I love it. That I just eat that stuff up. I absolutely love it.
Me too. I cannot get enough. And especially because I'm not there. I don't hear all those people.
And that's okay. You may never hear
all right.
people, but you have your gut feeling. And we can talk more. I feel like you have some other areas that are just starting to open a little bit in this time period. So just like I just started channeling, which is a whole different thing. I just started channeling 2 years ago at the age of 51. So you never know when certain new abilities will come in. Yeah.
Life is an ever evolving experience, right? When we stop learning, we die.
That's what I informed my grandmother once when she was in her 70s. I said, well, you're going to learn this new thing. And she's like, oh, honey, I'm too old to learn something new. And I go, and my 9-year-old, just very wise 9-year-old self goes, well, you might as well die then, Grandma.
The mouths of babes. I love it.
That didn't go over very well with my actually, she was probably in her 60s. That didn't go over very well. It was the truth, but it could have been said in completely different wording. It was nice.
Well, Nicole, this has been such an incredible conversation. I think a lot of people will really benefit from this, and I'm so grateful to you and your time devoted to speaking about yourself and your truth and money and me. So thank you again for being on the show, and I look forward to doing this again soon.
Thank you so much, Amy.